Either way it
Rollo.
goes.
They asked Rollo. They didn't ask the
Rollo,
girls.
could you make it
It
short?
depends on what that relationship consists of. Really, is like what. It's
Pantheon,
very
of
ambiguous
course.
when people say, like, well, what if she has a really great relationship with her partner? Well, I don't know what that looks like. Does
Right.
that look like the guy's like a beta chump simp who does everything, like buys her a pony whenever she wants a damn pony? Is that a good relationship, or is it like he prompts her in the right direction, or is the example of the alpha guy that he would want to have as his son-in-law later on? Is that the example he set for 18, 20, 30 some odd years, so that's what she's like organically, naturally following? Or is it like just give her everything she wants? So it kind of depends on what your definition of that is, but generally yes, but it just depends on what the parameter.
Please specify if you want to.
Very ambiguous. Well, people always want to, because
Why did I
everybody
go try to
wants-
help
yeah,
them?
Everybody wants to say, well, oh, it's daddy issues. They'll blame everything on daddy issues. It's like, no, I mean, what's the example that has been set?
All right, from now on, we're gonna sit and lay and try to farm.
Household where there's
That's
mother
all we're
and
gonna
father
do.
Still there together. The mother sets the example for femininity, and the father sets the example for masculinity. And if that guy sets a very weak beta chump example, and mom runs the house, well, is that he was there? He's still a good father, right?
Right.
He's still a chump though. So it kind of, I don't know. It just depends on the guy.
Okay.
It depends on the situation.
Okay, Joshua Kimber, fantastic answer. I told you Blanca ain't answering the questions. I did not want to say it's time for Frank Castle, but I seen that about to spark off from a mile away. Blanca, roll her behind out of here. Yeah, I mean, guys, I tried, bro. I've been like working on my patience a lot, but you have to give her the get her out of here. And then $100 from Thomas Lair. Note to the women: a valuable man already has his assets in check and is not worried about what you bring. He's already focused on his assets to support him first, and then he might toss you tips, but don't expect them. Okay, thank you. And then let's see here. Peach 3000. I've been watching for 15 minutes, and as soon as I tuned in, I knew the tattoo face girl was going to get Frank Castle. Mr. No Shit Myron Gaines still undefeated. Come correct, ladies. This is not a game. The man takes knots, for Christ's sake. And then Fresh's feet, $40.
Oh, God.
Shout out to Fresh and Frank, Sonya Blade on Tuesday, Bebop and Rocksteady yesterday. Now Blanca from Street Fighter. Thank you for allowing me to relive my childhood all in 1 week. We got you, bro.
Whose feet are those, nigga?
And then DL Saint, I knew it all. LOL. I'm scheduled to be in the date tomorrow, but that storm may keep me away.
Storm is
definitely
right now.
will.
Yeah.
Thank you for taking care of that, Myron. Love you guys, and Rolo. Have to check out Zuby. Don't like the quality of the show with people being disrespectful like that. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much. And I'll address that here in a second for you guys. Good. $40. Love from the Florida Keys Fresh and Fit podcast. We're doing God's work. Shout out to the Rolo. Your books changed my life. Absolutely, guys. Go pick up a copy of the Rational Mail.
Try to stay dry during the storm.
Oh, that's what he said. Okay, we're caught up. So, guys, here's the thing, man. I didn't want to kick her out, but she just kept over talking people. I noticed every time someone was making a comment, hell, you were just trying to say what you wanted, and she kept like interjecting. And for those of you guys out there, we've talked about it many times. Me and Fresh. I don't know what she's trying to say. I'm gonna pull y'all a card. We tell you guys: use Tinder, use Bumble, use SA, use every single website to meet girls, bro. And talk to girls out at the mall. Talk to girls at the club. You got to use all different avenues, guys. Because remember, dealing with women is sales. You are only as strong as your leads. You can't close deals unless you get leads. So leads come from various sources: Tinder, online dating, Instagram, etc. Right? Cold approach.
Instagram.
Then you take those leads, move them into dates. From dates, then you move into sex. That's how it works, guys. That's the game for men. You got to use volume as your best friend, okay? So I don't know what she was trying to say with that, but my biggest thing was she kept over talking me, and I was gonna actually rationally explain. Actually, you guys should be on that website if you have money. Like, what the hell are you doing? The key is you don't spend money and pay girls to hang out with you. You don't trick. You don't trick, guys. That's the thing. Here's the other thing too. For some of you guys that might not know this, a lot of those websites have like lawyers, doctors, very successful women that just want to date someone on their level.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's another thing. That's another reason why some girls go on. Obviously, you deal with some chicks like that sometimes, on crazy chicks, but you can also meet some pretty successful women on there. But guys, the lesson here: work volume. That's how you get girls. Okay, cool. Going back. Sorry.
So just real quick, Rolo, Zuby, you have a question for the panel at all?
Yes,
Anything
guys.
you wanna ask the
Turn it
girls?
to you guys.
Oh, you go.
This your shot.
You haven't gone yet. You gotta go.
And then next turn, you guys can ask questions to the guys on the panel. Cool.
Okay. All right. Let's ask a serious question. What are your thoughts on marriage, and if you plan to do it, when you plan to do it?
All right, we'll start here.
Okay. So anyone who watched last week knows that I'm a single mom. or a co-parent, as some people like to correct me. I think marriage is cool as long as everything in the relationship is working out, but I don't think it should be forced. If you're dating with intention and the intention is to get married, then I think that's amazing. However, I don't think marriage should be the end all be all for everyone, because I don't think it's in everyone's path of life.
Okay.
If that makes any sense. Yeah.
So for you, it's possible.
It's possible if I find the right person, but it's not something that I'm actively looking for. I'm a mom of 2 toddlers, so right now all I'm focused on is being their mother and being active in their lives. So dating for me, it's like no one's even gonna come around my kids in general, because they're not my priority at the moment. So for me, marriage it's a possibility, but you have to understand that you're never gonna be the first thing in my life ever.
Do you think that would be
And
different?
that's why you shouldn't date a woman
If I didn't
with
have
kids.
I think I would be more focused on career at the moment. You know, I'm 26 years old. I think that, you know, it's important for us to establish ourselves. I think life experience has taught me that it's important for you to establish yourself and focus on yourself before you focus on, in my opinion, a relationship is worrying about the opinions and the emotions of someone else. And I think you're, at this time and the way that the world looks, I don't think worrying about someone else's emotions is important until a lot later on in life, to be honest. So it really depends on your outlook. You know, my goal is not to ever just
Okay,
go
Pantheon.
off
So
and
you
look for
want
someone
me to
get married
back,
to.
but that's it.
I was put here to enjoy life, and I'm gonna enjoy my life the way that I think I should. So until it happens, you know, nature will tell me if it's time.
Gotcha. Cool.
I definitely believe in marriage. I feel like I want to live my life until it's that time. I'll know when it's that time. I want to fully like grow into the woman I'm supposed to be, and I'm gonna wait till God brings that person that's meant for me. You know what I mean? Until then, I'm just gonna be doing what I do. I'm gonna be taking pictures. You know, I want to start a business. You know, I'm gonna keep rapping. I'm gonna be in the studio a lot. Like what I do on the regular, like that's what I'm gonna be doing. And then when it's time for me to get married to someone, then that's gonna be my time. You know, until my type comes around.
So
Holy
you'll change
shit.
when he comes around.
No, I'm not
They're
gonna
feeding
change
the
when he
shit
comes
out of
around.
God.
I mean, I'm pretty like
80,
mostly
80,
don't
80,
marry.
p. So
Interesting.
Hmm.
Why do you think that is?
Because I think most women in the beginning, they're chasing the ambitious guy, or the guy who's not so nice, somebody that they think that they can fix. And I think later on they realize they can't fix someone who doesn't want to be fixed, so they end up settling for a nice guy. That's how I see it. I think women will settle for a nice guy and end up getting married to a nice guy, but in the beginning they're chasing a man that they think that they can fix. But you can't fix someone.
How do you define a nice guy? Because sometimes that's used as a compliment, and sometimes almost as a.
So I understand that I've told someone that they're a nice guy, and they took it like it was the most insulting thing in the world. So I totally understand that.
You're a good boy.
Yeah, I totally understand why saying that someone is a nice guy, because saying that you're nice means that you're a little bit more submissive, and men do not want to be submissive whatsoever. So telling a man that he's nice, you know, it's better to call them a gentleman than to say that they're a nice guy. If you're gonna call someone nice, but I think it is somewhat of an insult, because it makes a man feel like he's less manly than he actually.
I would argue it's not that he feels submissive, or it's he's not manly. It's more of what you're basically telling the guy is, hey, listen, you are not arousing, and I see no sexual future with you.
You will never see me naked.
So
Yeah.
horrible.
That's what I wouldn't say
thought that was
submissive or
no.
whatever. It's more that you're openly rejecting any type of sexual advance from him, and you basically told him you don't qualify as a potential sexual partner. You only qualify as a friend to share my platonic.
I really don't think
time with.
that
As
Evelyn's
women get older, they
Q
get tired of trying to
should
fix somebody, and I think at this
taunt
point
you.
in our lives,
Like if she
women
misses
stop
that
trying to
that
fix a
first
man
little,
and
you know,
just,
whatever
you
that
know,
that
actually enjoy the people that are in
skill
their
shot is,
presence.
if she
Most
misses
women are
that,
trying to fix someone,
then
and
her
that's
Q
just the
spikes should
honest
not
truth.
be able to
You
taunt
get
you
with a man, you're trying to fix him, or
at
you're
all.
trying to. There's something about him that you're trying to grow out of and fix
Yeah,
him
you're trying to
into.
mommy him.
Yeah, you're
Literally
trying
why I'm single. Like I don't want to fix anybody. I don't want to babysit anybody. I don't want none of that. Like I just really want to be single. Like I'm actually like really good where I'm at. Like I don't
That's a
It's
lie.
nothing to it. I like being single, and I like not having to worry about if
Put
I'm
the
getting
caps on,
cheated on.
boys.
I feel
Put
like
the caps on,
when the right
boys.
person comes, the right person is gonna come. Like that's really how I see
That's
it.
funny. They're gonna come.
Both ways.
All right.
Put the caps on, boys. Put the caps on.
He has a question. What do you thoughts? Married? Do you want to get married eventually?
Lee?
Well,
No.
for me, like
No?
my
No-
parents
no
are
gangs?
divorced, and
Okay,
my
bro.
daddy is so happy with his new wife, and my mama is happy being content. So I don't believe it's for everybody. I believe every generation it makes you feel a certain way towards marriage. This new generation, I think, is a little bit different. Where we've seen all our parents be getting divorced, and what goes on. We still want them to be happy. So what I care about is happiness. I personally don't care if I get married or not. The same if I have children or not. I'm almost 28 years old. If I don't have children, I don't have children. So I feel the same with marriage. Like if I don't get married to the man I want to be with, then I'm not gonna get married. But I will be with somebody for 10, 20, 30 years. I don't need to
Okay,
have
all right. I guess I'll
labeling
roam.
on it,
I'll
you
roam
know?
then.
Contract.
I don't
If our
have to have
jungle's
the
not gonna
contract
gank,
because it actually might work better.
allow me to
without it.
roam then.
Ah,
So
That's true.
yeah.
I can respect that. Okay.
Yes, I do. In the next few years, want to get married, and I believe in getting a prenuptial agreement and having 2 separate bank accounts. And then there was another part that I was going to add to it, but I totally forgot. Oh, somebody said something about waiting for the right person to come around. In my opinion, from what I've learned and what I've read, relationships are behaviors, and you have to keep like conditioning yourself to get better at it. And when you say these things like wait until the right person comes around, you're pretty much setting yourself up to be past the age where you're going to be preferred by men. What do we call that? The sexual marketplace.
You mean the wall?
Like I'm in the danger zone, right? Like I'm 26. Like so 23 and 25, 28. So that's to
The prime for women?
yeah, but like guys that are 45, they go for that age range. Like men, it doesn't matter, right? So if I decide I'm just gonna wait and work on my career, I'm gonna get old.
Yeah, men are allowed to get ugly.
Yeah, that's where it sucks when it comes to evolutionary biology, because it's set up kind of better for men in that aspect, which is why you guys should always be
I don't think
leveling up. There's no rush for men,
That's
but for women there is, but there's also no such thing as a biological clock. So freeze your eggs.
I respectfully disagree.
No, I'm
I feel
serious.
like
There's
it's not
research
this
on
complicated.
it.
It's just like when they
There's
come, they
social
come.
pressure, if that's what you're talking about, like everybody having
The
babies.
selection's gonna be different.
Women can't get ugly. Men can get ugly.
No, I'm talking. Are we talking about the
So,
biological clock, or
yeah,
like
so
in general?
you said the biological time clock does not exist.
It doesn't
and I
exist.
said I respectfully disagree that it actually does exist for women, and it's you have less of a window than you think you do. But go ahead, you were making a claim why you think it does.
I was saying, if you think of it as like a social thing where women are around the same age, 31, 32, they're seeing everybody getting married, having babies. I could see that as being the pressure.
Okay.
But internally, there's no such thing.
So you're arguing that it is not biological time clock; it's more of a mental time clock, and a social pressure.
Social. I wouldn't say mental, but I guess it could turn mental. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, because obviously when women get to a certain point in their life where they're 29, 30, and they start to, as Rolo says, the epiphany phase, I'll respectfully disagree with you, because by the time a woman reaches age 30, like 80, 90% of her eggs are gone. And then by the time she's 35, her ability to have children is significantly compromised. And every year after 30, her ability to bring children to term drops precipitously. So I respectfully disagree that there is a biological time clock 100% on women.
Here's the biological realities of this. Okay, so there is a biological clock, but it is like your fertility window when you are right around, say, 18 to about 26 years old. If there is a biological clock, that's when it is. That's when most women gave birth much earlier than that in our ancestral past. So is there a time where a woman who is not on hormonal birth control, where she would be her most fertile and she is at the most physical top front? That's why I kept saying, the peak sexual market value years for women is about 22, 23 years old today, right? It might have been earlier in the past. Yes, I get that. I'm making, concessions for that right now. So if there is a biological clock, it happened way before 30.
Yes.
Way before 30, because if you go and you look at the just the statistical evidence and the biological evidence, as just like you were saying, every year after 30, it becomes that much more difficult for women to actually conceive
Yes.
and carry a child to term within like that
Safe
In a healthy
safely,
manner. Yes.
safely.
Without
So if
birth
there
defects.
is and so what she's talking, and I know what you're gonna, I know where you're gonna go with
No,
this,
you-
because
maybe
a lot
you
of
do.
because a lot of women will say, I'm not getting any older. 29 to about 31 years old, that's when everybody wants to settle down, cash their chips in, and say, I got my biological clock is ticking. I got to find the right guy. I'll settle for the nice guy. That was actually going to be my question.
No.
But so I'll settle for the nice guy. Yeah, you don't want to, but that's where most women do settle
It's
for those.
reliable.
For the
Stop,
yeah.
I'm just gonna say.
Yeah. So
Yeah. Well,
there
we'll
is
give you an opportunity.
There
Don't
is.
worry.
I'll hold. Yeah. Hold,
Yeah.
hold that
I
thought.
love
Hold that thought.
I got it. I'm holding
Okay.
it.
So
Really hard.
So so biological clock is usually, like, women are taught that their biological clock should click in right around 29, 30, 31 years old, because that's when everybody, all their friends are having babies and whatever else. But it's also happens to coincide with the time where women have to cash out of the sexual marketplace, because the next crop of 22-year-olds is coming into the sexual marketplace, and their ability to consolidate on guys that they want to get with, the ones that they're trying to lock down, becomes less and less and less. So every year after 30, it becomes more and more difficult. So it's like there is a social pressure that we call the biological clock right there, and that's what we sell. That's like what's called a social convention that we sell to women, saying this is when you got to do it. Okay, so the party's almost over, the lights are almost going to come on at the club. You better grab the right guy and get out of the club quick before before the party's over. That if there's a biological clock, that's the social understanding.
Go ahead.
So when I was saying, which I think you just answered it, but I held on to it really hard. So, okay, the biological clock, what my understanding of it was before I said the social stuff was that there's this thing that goes on inside of you, like biologically, that you have to have kids. Even if you did, yeah, right. So when I was saying to mine that it was a social thing, I was just saying that the thing inside of you, like a biological inkling, maternal instinct, doesn't exist.
But there's a fertility window,
Yeah.
obviously.
There
I
is.
mean,
Correct,
then
but that's
if you're not ready-
separate.
So
okay.
I
That's
see
what
what's
I
going on
thought.
here. I see what's going on here. She's conflating the biological time clock with the fertility time clock. What we're simply saying that the biological time clock applies to all avenues. You being able to bring a child to term in a healthy fashion with the lowest risk of some type of issue is it's increased the longer you wait. And by the time you're 30, you've lost the majority of your eggs, and by the time you're 35, you bringing a child to term in a healthy fashion is almost zero. It's very slim. So all we're saying is that there is a biological time clock. I get where you're going. You're like, well, there's not necessarily, I guess, I don't get the baby rabies. Okay, you can say that. You know.
I think that's important for people to know because they think it exists.
Well, here's the thing.
I get what you're saying.
Like that's a feeling.
Yeah.
This baby rabies thing is a feeling.
Yeah.
However, let's talk about the fact. The fact is, by the time you're 30 and onward, your ability to bring children to term is significantly reduced. That is the biological fact. Freezing eggs does not necessarily help you. You're paying $10,000-$20,000 to throw a dart to throw a dart in the dark, essentially, and you might or might not hit target. So, and the other thing too, is I will say this: we have so many social conventions out there to make women feel better for their bad decisions when it comes to family. We tell women, chase your career, make money, get the bag, etc. We tell them everything except, hey, you might want to cash your chips early when you're at the most beautiful and you can get the best value guy you can and have a child while you're still in your youth. We tell women, no, push it back. It's okay, because when you lie, what happens? Women buy. Women are the consumer base. Women are far more impressionable. You guys control 80% of the market. You guys make the most purchases. So there is an economic incentive to tell women to hold off on family and children, because we know this is a fact that when people are single, they spend far more money than when they're in a family. Sorry, go ahead.
I was also gonna say, I feel like men also want you to have the kids. I feel like merch. Yeah, I think the men really want you to have the kids early too, because as you get older, it's harder for you to go back to looking the way that you looked before having the kids. I had 2 kids in 1 year, shamelessly, I will admit that, and honestly, my biggest
What's wrong with
fear-
that?
My biggest fear was blowing up like a balloon.
Okay.
You look good.
So I actually took care of myself while I was pregnant, but I also had both kids at 22 years old. So I was able to make sure that I retained and went back to that weight that I was before. Otherwise, I would be considered lazy, right? Because I'm young, I can go back to where I was. Not everyone has that privilege, but my body and my metabolism.
I didn't think about that. That's another good point, that you're able to recover from pregnancy at a
Right.
faster rate when you're younger.
When you're older, your body holds on to weight a lot longer, and obviously we know that men are not fond. Not all men, some men, you know, BBW community, but the other men, some men do not like the way that a woman looks, and that's how I feel like a lot of relationships go downhill after the baby, and you have a baby late. Men start to become slightly unattracted with the fact that you're not losing that weight right away as you get older.
As they should, though.
Honestly, it depends on your metabolism and the woman, but I do know men in general. I feel really bad for women who can't lose the weight as fast as they could, but
that's just a lack of discipline.
It is a disciplinary thing, but it's
what it
also
comes down
genetic.
to,
I don't know why she
you're
tried
right.
me,
Like,
yo,
yes,
with that much
metabolic
health.
capacity does play into
Come on
it.
now.
Your metabolic capacity does go down as you age, but that is not an excuse to be fat, because because a
I have
caloric
2 kids.
deficit, all you have to do to lose weight is put yourself in a caloric deficit and sustain it for a prolonged period of time. The problem is this: people don't want to be held accountable for their poor decisions. They don't want to track calories. They don't want to track macros. They don't want to weigh their food out. They just want to be able to eat McDonald's and pray to God that they're going to lose weight.
A man
No.
will lose his attraction towards his woman after the baby's born because she's too busy focused on the baby and not on herself.
That's not
or
why.
on-
Yeah,
on keeping
understandable.
herself, which is totally understandable, but unfortunately, it's the reality of the truth. A lot of men will lose their attraction after the baby's born, and that is the failure of.
She apparently has what, 2 kids? Shit, the way she looks right now, I'd still be attracted.
Other women and stuff like that.
I'd still be going. I have a
Women
third
do
one.
initiate most breakups, but if somebody is unattracted with you, they're going to look in and they're. But a lot of people are going to look into
A
their
man
temptation.
exercising options and having sex with other women is not the same as a woman exercising options. Well, cheating in her case.
Well, in general, I'm talking about like a woman gaining weight after pregnancy as she gets older. I feel like she might lose the attraction of her man, unfortunately, and that's what may get him to branch off and then to look into other options, i.e., go to maybe strip clubs or things like that. That he's not.
My argument is that that's not a big deal. I've said it before on the podcast. Personally, and anecdotally, I don't have evidence to back this up, so it is what it is. But one woman can never quench a man's insatiable thirst for sex. She can't, because men like different shapes, sizes, colors, etc. You look at a music video,
Reasons
a rap
why
music video,
monogamy
hip-hop
is shit.
music, reggaeton. You go in a VIP in a club, they have an assortment of different women, different shapes, colors, and sizes. Guys like to try different things. It's like being in a candy store, right? So I think one of the biggest mistakes women make thinking about men is that, hey, I can satisfy him myself sexually. You will never be able to do it. So instead of trying to satisfy him sexually, you need to satisfy him from other needs.
Spiritually, emotionally.
I wouldn't say, well,
It's a man, so
Hey,
I don't know about that.
Intellectually.
But
being his assistant to help him operate at 100, because by himself he's going to operate 100%, but then you coming in allows him to operate at 105%, and that extra 5% gives him the edge with other competition with other men. That's when a woman becomes an indispensable asset to that man, because he cannot operate at full power to beat his competition without her by his side. That's how women keep men around. It's not through sex. One of the biggest mistakes women think is, I'm going to keep a guy through sex. You know, so that's my personal opinion on it. I don't have. That's anecdotal. I don't have studies for that one, but
I think even if you help the man's pockets grow, he might. You don't have that guarantee of him only being still.
Because then he might get bitter while you're making more money.
But remember, ladies, sexual loyalty is not the same. Men and women look at loyalty very differently.
Yeah.
Your loyalty is by not having sex with other men. Our loyalty is not providing security to another woman.
That I understand.
I would delete
get
my
it.
social media for him.
Yeah, he
There you
doesn't.
go.
Want to make it clear.
There you go.
I won't.
Zubi,
Yeah, but he'll have a whole fake page searching everyone
hold on.
up.
Zubi, Zubi, do you ever want to be married or wait till you're married for yourself?
Yeah, but guys view
Yeah, I'm
social
definitely gonna get
media
married.
differently.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to have at least 5 kids too. I'm getting married first.
Same woman.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, straight up. No,
Facts.
I'm a traditionalist, man. I'm not on
Yeah,
all
that's
this new
awesome.
age crap.
Yeah, you hear men? I want 5 baby mamas.
No,
5 different
no.
babies.
Okay. Gosh, no. I'm like a combination of, like, you know, modernism and tradition. You know, my family's originally from Nigeria, from a very big family, one of 5 kids. My dad's one of 11. My mom is one of 6 or 7, like
Damn.
we're straight edge, straight down the line. Everybody gets married, marriage, children.
I love
bang.
it.
Spread
Straight
those
up.
genes.
That's the
I'm
best way
gonna-
to raise a family.
I'm carrying on
Children.
tradition. No cheating. No none of that. Straight up, one woman.
I love it. I love
Slow jam.
Comes from the
What
house.
about you?
I totally believe in marriage. Yeah.
When do you want to get married, buddy? Do you know?
I want to get married before I'm 29. Yeah. Definitely.
All right, chat. Y'all hear that?
Yeah, chat.
Right now.
For Maya.
Yeah, please. I want to
a
get.
few years.
My mom had 4 kids. She started at 15. I've been recommended.
Damn.
And she stopped at like 23 or some young fast shit. So basically, I don't want to get mine out the way because, like you said, she was able to snap back, but she did surgery and all types of other things.
I'll
like-
be chilling in my 30s.
and right now, she got a dude that's banking.
Listen,
like
I'm gonna be chilling in my 30s. I'll tell you that much. I got my boy, my girl. I'm vibing. All my 30s and 40s, I'm
Yeah.
chilling.
I love that.
All right, what about you, India?
So yeah, I definitely do believe in marriage. Kind of like what you said. Like I'm in between, you know, with the modern and definitely traditional, but I definitely do believe in marriage, and I want to get married.
I think with marriage, I mean, look, it's there's no question about it. Whether you want to look at studies or just anecdotes or common sense, like a child growing up or children growing up in a married 2-parent stable family is the best thing for children and is the best thing for
Indisputable.
communities,
Yes.
society in general. That's
Indisputable.
not even. It's not up for debate. Whether that doesn't mean absolutely everybody has to do that or people should be forced into it or bullied or shamed or whatever. No. But I think if in a society or you can look at any community where that is not the norm, and there's going to be a lot of problems.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. Always.
Look at the United States now.
Always. Any
I think
community. Yeah.
right around 50% of children are born out of wedlock. You know, a lot of parents, children nowadays come from
45.
single mother households. 45%.
45%. And then the other thing I was going to add to this is that the
Sure.
average age, and I just looked this up because we're doing our data for tomorrow's
Yes.
show.
Big show
The
tomorrow.
average age of first birth in the United States is now like 26 or 27 years old,
Whoa.
right? Which is the reason I was looking at it is because somebody was asking, I think it was on Twitter or something about like, why do you think that the fertility rate in the United States is so low right now? It's like, and so people were sort of throwing their numbers out, and so I went and I looked that up. So that's number one. Number two is the average age of first marriage in the United States. Oh, by the way, average age of first birth in the UK is like 31.
Yeah. You
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
People get married noticeably. I've noticed.
Yeah.
Like a lot of my
Late.
American
When they're
friends.
sure.
Very late.
Yeah, like a lot of my American male
Sure.
friends, like who are my age, have like 2, 3, 4 kids.
Right, and then
And in the UK, a lot of my friends, like a couple of my good friends have like kids. So
No,
it's
my mom
definitely
had me
related.
at 32 and my sister at 36, and she looked so young. My dad's 64.
Listen,
You
mom had
know,
twins at
they
32.
look
Your mom is
bu-
genetically blessed.
She is.
Yeah.
Our family
average age
is.
of first
Right.
marriage in the United States for men is, I believe it's 29.7. And for
Not
women
bad.
it's like
That sounds
28, 29, in somewhere in that range right there. Which, like, when you look at what we were just talking about, the biological clock, when we tell women just put it off, go get yours, girl, go to college, go do this, like that. One of the things when Aaron Clary was on this show, the first thing he asked about, very similar to this question, is where on your list of priorities does marriage fall? And every last one of the girls who was on here answered, number 4, number 5, number 7, whatever. If it ever happens, if the
Career was number one. Pretty much.
if the clouds part and the angels sing and the light shines down, then I guess we'll get married, right? And it's like there's no plan, it's not seeing the forest for trees. Like all they're seeing is like what's next, rather than like where do I want to go and where do I want to be. That's why average age of first marriage is almost 30. That's why average age of first birth is 26, 27, somewhere around there.
For men or for women.
Yeah,
26.
obviously.
Birth is
Obviously,
27,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Excuse me.
Also, right, I just want to say this though, guys. Marriage is a great thing. However, the laws make it unbearable.
For men.
Yeah.
So
The
for men
incentive
out here,
is
bro,
not there.
I wouldn't do it personally. But if you want
No,
to,
that is
that's up to you.
in no way, and this is coming from a guy who's been married for 25 years and in a very good, stable, good relationship for all of that time. I can't, like, people always say, well, I can't believe Rolo, he's against marriage. I'm not against marriage. I'm just against the way we do it now, right? That because there is no incentive for men to get married. You have more authority over your life as a man outside of marriage than you will inside of
Yeah,
marriage.
the moment that you involve the state into your marriage, bro, you pretty much lose for a guy.
I want to say something real fast because I was thinking about this as you were speaking, Rolo, and this isn't to pick on you. But what I know, because I was talking about the biological time clock and how it does indeed exist with women. There's no disputing it, right? Once a woman reaches 30, her ability to have children drops down. So you were saying that the first births for women right now is 26 to 27?
Somewhere there. Yeah.
So here's the other thing. Now, this is speculation. I don't know if there's a study that shows this, but we do know that in the United States, we have record low birth rates.
Yeah.
So if the average age that women are having children is 26 and we still have the lowest birth rates, I would venture to argue that the biological time clock is extremely rare, extremely relevant, and it might be even at an earlier age than women think. We tell common society, 30 years old, man, that's like, get married, have children before 30. That seems to be like the cutoff, but it might be even younger. You know what I'm saying? With the birth rates being so low right now. Record low birth rates right now.
Do you know? I'm pretty sure Japan has more higher, lower.
Hold on. But let's look at the data.
Higher record low birth rates.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
is having her child at 26, 27 average. However, we're having the lowest birth rates ever recorded. So if women are averaging 26, 27 having children and the birth rates are low, I mean, it would be a fair idea to conclude that, hey, 26, 27, even at that low of an age, they're still having trouble having children.
But I'm saying that's
Less
taking
marriages nowadays
data
as well.
from
I know.
younger
It's
and
speculation.
older.
It's speculation. But what I'm saying is that the birth rates are low. Do you see what I'm going with this?
I believe it is from the foods that we're eating and everything.
Okay, you think
But
it's
if
from
you have
food.
enough money and you have fertility and you can actually
there's a
go to
lo-
a doctor.
Sure.
I know I have a bunch of fertility friends that weren't able to get pregnant for a while, but they had enough money
Speak to Mike.
and they were able to actually get pregnant in a week
That's a
or
valid
two.
point. Yeah, the
Yeah.
food
So if
is
you
not
have
as
enough money
and
you-
obesity.
Exactly. Like,
I was
I mean,
gonna say-
obesity too from the foods we eat.
Zubi had a
Yeah,
point.
I was going to say, dude, there's a bunch of factors.
there's a bunch of different
biological, economic,
Yeah.
social, like there's a whole ton of stuff.
Yeah.
Perhaps even political if you want to talk about marriage laws,
Mhm.
etc. Right? The incentives are set up the wrong way. If you wanted to set up a society to encourage people to get married and have children at a youngish age, then the modern Western world is doing a terrible
So
job.
I
of
would.
that.
Here's my conclusion then.
Okay.
I would say with this data, with the food, the obesity rates, everything, is it fair to say that the biological time clock might actually be sooner than women think of the 30?
Yes, but the
That's
technology, if you have enough money, then you can have it happen. And that's fucked up to say, but it's the truth.
Okay,
And
take away the money though.
Yeah.
It's fucked up to say, but it's
For the
true.
average person.
For the
Also-
average person.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the
Also-
average person can't produce that. But if you have enough money, then yes, it can happen.
We're freezing eggs.
I mean, you don't have to freeze eggs. There's
Just take care of yourself.
The
There's-
qual-
you
they're
don't have
saying-
to freeze
okay,
eggs.
the quality,
eating well,
the quality of
exercising.
life, you've
This
got
is
money
without
is way
freezing
better.
eggs.
Yeah, the
And
quality of
it's
life.
fucked up to say, but it's the truth.
Yeah,
Two-
yeah.
Yeah,
two-
but not
two-
everybody lives like that.
Exactly.
Right.
That's why
And
I'm saying it's fucked up to say.
I don't believe that's really zoomed in on fertility. It is, but I was saying sometimes it's a choice and it's more of a behavioral factor as well because a lot of people on Twitter in real life, homegirls, homeboys, talk about how their parents have all these issues and people love talking shit about how their parents' marriage ain't shit. So a lot of people aren't really fucking with getting married based off their parents. They assume because what they saw growing up is like destructive. They don't know anything about accounts until they get older and things like that. So it makes a lot of people have a distasteful look at marriage and not want to because a lot of the parents, they look at mommy and daddy as angels and over time they see like they're human. So when they choose who they want to get married with or who they want to have kids with, they're a little more selective because maybe I don't want to give birth to someone who's going to be fucked up because I'm not ready to have a kid because my mom and dad weren't ready.
Right.
Exactly.
So a lot of people are like
That's a valid factor as
using
well.
mental health instead of like,
A lot of valid factors.
Yeah,
You got something? Go
that's
ahead.
very good.
Can I piggyback off of Maya? I'm basically just going to say that a lot of people do not even get married these days. There's a lot less marriages in general these days because people have watched their parents go through a lot of unhappy marriages and have realized that that's not something that they want for themselves. So you'll see a lot more people bring kids into this world without getting married. You're going to see a lot less divorces technically because a lot less people are getting married. And you're starting to notice a lot more people, I guess, have more conscientious relationships at the end of the day, or they'll date without intention. So it's either one or the other. There's a lot less people that are sitting here dating in the middle. And like I had my kids early. I'm at this point, I can honestly say I'm one of those statistics. I'm one of those people that is probably not going to have any more kids at the end of the day. And before I get married, it's going to take a long time to get me into
Yeah,
that place.
you had your children way below the average. And Zuby, Bruss, just to piggyback on Zuby's point, yeah, it's I would say, and thank you for bringing light to it. It's a multifaceted issue where you have economic situations, you have health situations, the obesity rate, the food, the quality of food, etc. But what I'm pretty much I'm saying is that the bottom line conclusion here is we have the lowest birth rates ever recorded.
I think
that's the fact. So I would say the biological time. I think there's a possible argument that the time clock, the biological time clock, might actually be sooner than women think, based off of the quality of the food, quality of the air, quality of lifestyle. Yes, of course, women. Of course, women can. There's abortion as well. But that's another factor. Of course, women can like circumvent these issues by being healthy, eating better, etc. But let's be honest. If you take an average person, right? The average person is in the United States. What, 73% of women are obese in the United States?
40. And I just looked this up this morning.
What is it?
For John from Modern Life Dating. For the obesity rates, it was by country. Japan, by the way, is like the lowest.
Yeah.
The highest is the United States.
Yeah.
In fact, it is so high they could barely fit the graph on the bars.
What's the final?
For women, this is obesity. Okay?
Yeah.
This is not overweight. This is people who are clinically morbidly obese. Women, 40% of the U.S. population are clinically obese. For men, it's about 35.
Yeah. And if you go and if you do it with clinically obese, we're talking like 30, 40 pounds overweight.
That's obese, not overweight.
Yeah.
Like what you're quoting is like 75.